All right. Welcome to the Autonomous First podcast. We are back. Before we were on YouTube, now we're going to podcast kind of video as well. So now you'll be hearing my lovely-ish voice. But today, my first video, I have someone I met in the Black Mamas group put together by ShinDoula, the hilarious Annessa. Hopefully she doesn't say anything too crazy today, but I have Annessa. I mean, honestly, say something crazy. I love it. As long as it's not Olympia crazy. We're good.
I don't know what that is, but we'll wait to her
Right.
to the podcast so she can share.
Yes, I'm very scared about that. But okay, so to start, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself, anything you want to tell us, and we'll go from there.
Let's see. My name is Annessa. Taylor is my maiden name. My married name is Nguyen. Um, I am 32 years old. I have a almost 17-month-year-old daughter, and I am almost 6 weeks pregnant with my second. Um, Born and raised Chicago. Been living on the East Coast for about 7 years. I'm a tennis coach, tennis player. That's my passion. Now we have a tennis family. My husband's a tennis coach, a tennis player. We have a tennis legacy. Her name is Ace Taylor Nguyen. And we're also thinking of a tennis name for the next one. If not, but a strong name for the next one. I love being a mom. I do. I've been working with kids almost all my life since I was a kid. I started teaching tennis when I was 16. So I've always loved kids. But around when I was 16, 17, I had ectopic pregnancy. So that was like a shocker for me. And I was told at that time that I was never going to be able to have kids again. And I kind of accepted that. I feel like they only tell Black women that because I've met some white women and they're like, oh, no, they never told me that. And I'm like, okay. But yeah, I had one tube and I never thought that I would be pregnant. We tried. It wasn't hard to get pregnant and here she is. So um, I'm excited to be here. I had a doula, ShinDoula, which was great. She's also my org sister from college and also a good friend. And she put together this Black Mamas meetup, and I met some really great sisters. They're my sisters now. Yes, my other mommy, my mommy tribe. And outside of being like just a mom, like it's just important to have women like you, whether they're moms or not moms. And I think that's just important for Black women in general in this society. So I'm all about Black power, Black love. Even though my husband is Asian, I still am pro-Black, but I speak for all minorities. So I think that's just a little bit about me, unless there's more. I don't know. I try not to say no crazy stuff. I'm very blunt.
Say it. I'm here for it. I don't care. Two things though. How you let us pronounce your name wrong for a good 2 months? Because then you just say Annessa.
Yeah, so that's another thing. Yeah, it's Annessa. People say Annessa, which I guess is okay. I just don't.
It's not okay. That's not what your mama named you.
Right, because I tell my kids that too. When I meet people with different names, I'm like, no, make sure I say your name right.
Yeah.
It's Annessa.
Part of me wants to do the intro over again, but I'm not.
No, no, Annessa. I don't. My mom's name is Vanessa, but we all have A names in our family. So Anne came from my mom's favorite aunt. Her middle name was Anne, so we just said Annessa. So
okay. I was like, this girl ain't never correct us. Two, I feel like a goofy because I didn't realize Ace's name was associated with tennis, but
a lot of people don't. A lot of people just think like Ace, but yep, Ace. Because for people that don't know, when this come out, Ace is a serve that cannot be returned in tennis. So if somebody serves the ball really fast at you and you cannot return it, it is considered an ace. The other meanings of ace means one and unity. So aside from tennis, it's still a strong name.
That's very fitting. You learn something new every day. Okay, so I know you mentioned the ectopic pregnancy, and that's crazy because I had never heard someone say that the person told them they couldn't have a baby after. So that shit. Sorry, that was my phone. It's interesting. But that kind of leads me to my next point. So prior to becoming pregnant, because within pregnancy itself, like we go through stuff, but even outside of pregnancy, I feel like the medical field hates Black women, like you just said. So prior to pregnancy, did you have any like feelings toward the medical field or like any bad interactions or anything like that that affected you when you went into pregnancy?
As far as my topic,
Just in general, it could be like a PCP or OBGY, like anything that just led you to mistrust doctors in general.
Actually, no, because strangely enough, I came from a split home. My parents were divorced, but I mainly lived with my father. So when it was time to have the period talk and all of that, I was handed a book. It was like, here you go. And my mom was, so caught up in her life that I don't think it really phased her. So I really didn't have my first pap smear until after my ectopic pregnancy, because it was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, you're gonna have to see an OB, and I'm like, what is that? What they're gonna do?
Right.
So I think after my ectopic, I actually had a good experience because I had a doctor. The guy who did my surgery was actually my doctor, and it was great. He just eased me into it. I mean, just let me know about my body, STDs and all those stuff. So I don't think I had anything negative to say after, especially having that traumatic experience with the
Mm-hmm.
ectopic pregnancy, because I had no idea I was pregnant. That's the thing as well. I had no idea I was young. I got pregnant on my first try. Like, it was just a really a scary situation because I was gonna die, and I didn't know that either. So
Yeah.
it was I think back on it a lot. I'm not as traumatized because I accepted it, but it was like, man.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I think afterwards I had a good experience with the OBs after.
If you're open to share, how did you? Because you said you didn't know you was pregnant. How did you find out that
So
what was going on?
yeah, so we had went on a family cruise, and we had came back, and I wasn't feeling well. Like, I was cramping, and I'm thinking like it's just from the flight and the boat and everything. And I had braids. I had micros at the time. And that was the thing back in the day. I had micros, and I had to sit down in between my stepmom's legs, and I felt something rupture. Like, I felt like something popped inside of me. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I can't move. And my dad was like, what do you mean? Also, I'm sorry, side note, I was bleeding. I thought I was
Mm-hmm.
having a period. It was like dark here and there, but I thought it was just, a period, which I learned that's one of the signs too. You think you're on your period, but you're not. My dad legit had to lift me and carry me to the car, and we went to the ER. I remember peeing in a cup. And then I remember just telling him I was in so much pain. Like, I was like, I am just hurting right now. And then the doctor came back in and was like, yeah, you're pregnant. And I looked, I was like, no, I'm not. I was like, I can't be pregnant. He was like, no. They was like, yeah, you're about like a month and a half pregnant. I say, what? I didn't even, I was like, I can't tell that man outside. I said, he gonna kill me. I said, he is gonna kill me. So I asked them to give me a phone so I could call my mom. And they
Mm-hmm.
was like, well, we have to tell. I was like, no, no, no. I was like, yeah, I don't understand. And I was like, that man is gonna kill me. I was like, I have to call my mom. So I called my mom. She rushed there. So they told them together. But the next thing was they said I had been bleeding for weeks inside. So that rupture was
Mm-hmm.
the egg growing in my tube, and it burst my tube.
Mm-hmm.
So they was like, we need to find your surgeon tonight, or else like you're gonna die. And I'm just like, what? And I think that was probably one of the first times I seen my father cry, because everything just happened so fast. Like, I had no idea any of that was going on. So yeah, that's how I found out. And to know, like, and to hear how long I had been pregnant, I was like, I had no idea.
Right.
So
That's a. I hope he ain't say it so bluntly to a 16-year-old, but because
yeah,
that just sounds scary.
it was like they were talking to me as if I was an adult.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it was like, so you're pregnant, and I'm just like, yeah, like,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you for sharing that. So about little Ace. Tell me about your pregnancy with Ace. Like, how did you find out? I'll just let you tell it how you tell it, and then if I have any questions, I'll ask. But.
How did I find out about Ace? So we were in Florida, and this was like a crazy time because it was the pandemic happened 2020. I had quit my job due to like racism and sexism. I was just tired, and I started my own tennis academy. And then my husband had got fired later that year, so
Mm-hmm.
I quit in June. My husband got fired in December. We got engaged that September. So we did say as soon as we got engaged we would try. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
Boom. Tried. We went to Florida in December to January, living our best life, girls, smoking, drinking, partying. Well, my husband don't smoke, so if he listens to this, don't judge. With me, our best life in Florida. We were going to tennis, like tennis matches, and I missed my period. And that's, I mean, for any woman that has like a legit like timetable on their period,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, wait a minute. So I was like, don't go buy pads. I was like, go buy a pregnancy test. So I had, this was at night, but I heard like if you drink a lot of water, it can throw off the pregnancy test. So one
Mm-hmm.
pregnancy, like I had the line, one had a line, but a faint line. And then I took another digital one and it said not pregnant. But my best friend was like, take one first thing in the morning. So I went, bought 3 more digital ones, took it first thing in the morning. Pregnant, pregnant, pregnant. Um, and my husband and I just looked. I mean, we were excited because we tried, but we was like, this could be like kind of the worst timing, even though we tried. So I went to a Planned Parenthood in Florida and took a test there. And they said it's positive. I think I was like 4.5, almost 5 weeks. And then she was like, do you want like abortion information? And I mean, I was like, yeah, I'll take it because I don't believe in making that decision by myself, even though we wanted it, but we also wasn't ready. So we sat in the car. My husband cried like a baby. I'm just sitting there like,
Don't put him out there like that.
truth. It's the truth. But it also attests to women sometimes because it's like it's a decision for us. Like you really have to think about it. Like I had to put my emotions aside because I'm like, all right, what are we going to do? Like, like I've, no shade to women that be like, oh no, like you shouldn't get rid of a baby. But I don't believe in bringing a baby into certain situations. That's just me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, we sat on it and then we sat and talked for hours. It was raining and we just said, let's do it, because I was with anything, but I'm a person like, look, we're going to make it happen. We have the support system, even though we don't have family here. We do have friends that are like family. And just the right route we were going, I said, we'll be okay. And he felt it too. He was like, we'll be okay. So we just went from there. Yeah.
Okay, Mace. Also, rewind though, because I knew this, but I didn't think about telling you to say it. You mentioned your tennis academy. Why you ain't plugged that in the beginning?
So it was it was a great thing. So when I left the tennis facility I was at in June, I was scared because it's like you're doing these things on your own. You're a black woman. You think you got all these odds stacked against you, but then I'm like, wait, I am a black woman. I am a good coach. Like my students love me. My parents love me. So when I left and I started my own thing, all of my clients from that place came with me, and it was just such a like a moment, But the only thing about tennis that can be like just the struggle point is having your own facility. Like I was only able to do things during the summer and the fall. As soon as winter came, I didn't have access to indoor. But yeah, and then I taught my whole pregnancy as well. I played my whole pregnancy. But then when I had Ace, I kind of put it on the back burner a little bit. But I plan on, bringing it back out. Actually, probably this summer again. I know my clients, they have been very patient because they know I wanted to be a stay-at-home mom.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if anybody's interested, let me know.
Okay, perfect. So like when you got pregnant with Ace, did you have like I feel like I'm super duper loud. So like I've always knew, or I don't know why I feel like a weirdo, but I always knew like the type of birth I wanted to have. Did you ever like how people have like their ideal wedding or whatever? Did you ever have
Absolutely.
an ideal birth and like what did that look like?
I did. I always wanted to have a home birth. I always wanted to just have that natural experience. I wanted to just be surrounded, like just because I know, your home has this energy, and I know our home had good energy, and I wanted that for us. The only thing that turned, and I knew I wanted a doula too. The only reason why I didn't do a home birth, my first one, I have a client, she's a doctor, and she said, if I can give one piece of advice, and I was like, oh, what? She said, because you really don't have any close family here. She said, if something goes wrong, like it'll take a while for the EMT to get there and all these other things. And I said, okay. She said, your first one, she was like, would you just think about doing it at the hospital? I was like, okay, because I mean, I wasn't gonna compromise a doula, because in
Mm-hmm.
my mind, the way I am, I could be in a hospital and tell them I'm not gonna do X, Y, and Z. Like they're gonna do what I say, pretty much, because they're not gonna kick me out the hospital. So I said
Right.
I'll do that. So my second one, this one, I would love a home birth, especially because you, girl, I was like, I just did. I was like, I'm definitely gonna do it now. I am going to do it. But yeah, it was. I did always want to do it naturally too. I wanted a natural
Mm-hmm.
birth, no medicine, no anything. But I was also being realistic. Like, hey, if Ace needed something, like if they was telling me, like, hey, you need this so she can be okay, then I would do
Mm-hmm.
that.
All right. Yeah. I told right before I had the baby, you Summer Walker, she was pregnant with twins and then she had a home birth. I told my mother, I was like, if any point in this labor situation I act like I don't want to do this, remind me that Summer Walker gave birth to twins at home and one was breached. And I'll
And
get
one
through
was bleached.
it. So you can do it. I was like, if
That
she could do
story,
that with her
it gave
crazy
me
ass, I can
chills.
manage a home birth.
That gave me chills. Two babies and one was breached. I mean, come on.
I would have passed the fuck out. I ain't
No,
gonna lie.
for real. I'd have been like, I
But
got one more in there. Mm-mm, just
I'm like, just take it with you. Get it out of
yes.
me. Take it with you, because I can't do this shit no more. But yes, so you can do it, and we gonna be rooting for you. I should have asked this first, but what was your pregnancy like? Was it like easy sailing? Did you
I
have
had,
any complications, morning
I had a
sickness,
great
shit like that?
pregnancy. Yeah, I had a great pregnancy. I was only car sick with Ace. Um,
It's
because
just a
I
good
was, I
reason
was
not
just
to leave the house.
yeah, I mean, but I was always driving to my lessons, so I just had ginger or gum. Gum saved my life
Mm-hmm.
a lot. Um, I'm trying to think. I had a great pregnancy with Ace. I didn't really throw up. The only time I threw up is brushing my teeth. And I think any pregnant mom could attest to that when you start brushing and just the gagging.
That's
Um,
nasty.
yeah, God. And no, don't get me started on the hemorrhoids, girl. I had those too. But that was towards the end.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I had a great pregnancy. I was very active. Um, the cravings, what did I crave? I craved
You said it the other day. I can't remember.
Oh my God, what did I crave? Oh, I had cereal. I had cereal. It was Captain Crunch or Frosted Flakes. Um, but
At
then
least
I
it wasn't
also
no nasty shit.
no right. I told my husband I was like, if it was something that I really didn't want, I'm like, this baby is different. Like this is a Thanos baby. But tacos, ice cream, and I wanted queso dip all the time too. But it was mainly cereal. Like I wasn't a cereal person. I had to have cereal in the morning and have cereal at night.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I had a great pregnancy with her. It was
Good.
good.
People be telling these. You ever heard a girl with a list?
A
And it'd be
list.
like, this girl on social media has a list, and like every time somebody makes a video about like some crazy pregnancy symptom, like their nipple falling off or their teeth falling out, she's like, I'm gonna add this to the list of why I'd never get pregnant. And the internet just always be talking about her. But it's just a side note. But basically, you be seeing shit like that, and you be like, my pregnancy was really easy in comparison because what the fuck did you go through? But that's just a side note.
I'm the last of all of my best friends. Five, no, we'll count four. My other best friend is a lesbian, but all four of my best friends have kids, and I mean, a lot of them had some different pregnancies, but it was never like, oh, I can't do this. All I thought was, my,
Mm-hmm.
don't compare. Every woman is different. Like a lot of them, I think majority of them had like C sections, and it was like a horrible experience. But it still didn't make me not want to. Because even if I had to have a C section, all I thought was I'm still gonna have my baby in the end. Like, yeah, it's not ideal to be cut open, just like it ain't ideal for your vagina to be spread and ripped open. But I want that baby at the end.
Yeah.
It's
It,
true.
it is true. Okay, so which way we want to go with this? All right. So your birth story. Just tell me, from the jump until Ace was here,
All
and
right.
yeah.
So my birth story leading up. So Ace due date was September 18th. Um, soon as September 19th came, or the night of September 18th, I was just like, I'm tired. Like that last month, but really that last week is like, it's like hell, because you're like, I'm over this. Like, yes, I want to meet this baby, but this some bullshit. Like, get this person out of me. So we took a 20-minute walk to get some food. I remember I had pot belly, and I was like, put extra peppers on it. I ate it. We walked all the way back. We had sex because I'm like, we gonna get this baby out of here. I'm like, get it out. We laid down, went to sleep. I had a back contraction, which was weird. It's like it was this real sharp pain in my back, and I got up and I thought I had to poop. Went to the bathroom, nothing happened. So I remember waddling back in bed, and I hit my husband. I said, "This is gonna be it." So I lay back down, and I text Shinny because I couldn't go to sleep. I said, "Oh, my back was really hurting." I said I thought I had to poop, didn't have to poop. She said, "Okay, just keep me posted, let me know." Lay down. That was like what, 5 a.m. Naja, no kidding. 5:45. That first contraction, I woke up and I had the contraction app, so I started timing it, and it was 7 minutes. I'm like, okay. Second one, 6 minutes. I'm like, all right. Third one, 5 minutes. So I called Shani. I was like, they're close. They're close. So she was like, okay, call your doctor, blah, blah, blah. So I got up because the contractions were close. I went into Ace's room. I sat on my yoga ball, turned on like the essential oils, the lavender smell. I called the hospital. Um, I was supposed to give birth at Holy Cross in Silver Spring. Called a lady, and she was like, okay, asking me questions, but I was like, please hold. And I had another contraction. She was like, oh, we got to get you in here. Girl, tell me why they ain't have no beds. She was like, we don't have any room. And I'm like, that's not something you should be telling me right now. Like, my husband probably think, he'd be like, these women gonna think you're an asshole. And I'm like, nah, like, you cannot tell me that you don't have room. So she said, we'll send you to the one in Germantown, which I guess is a blessing because Silver Spring, that hospital was 15 minutes away. Germantown was 5 minutes away. So she was like, okay, we got my stuff. And then we went. Oh, a part of my plan that I wanted to labor at home. But that was out of the question at that point because my contractions were very, very close. So got to the hospital about 6:45. Got checked in at 7. When I got there, I was about 4 to 5 centimeters dilated. Um, yeah, signed the paperwork. I had a black nurse, so I feel like that was a good sign too. Because I was nervous, but I felt like I didn't have time to be nervous because I'm like, I don't know this hospital. I'm not going to know my doctor, but I was like, I got this black lady here. And I was like, I got my husband, and then Shinny will be here. So what blew me about Shinny, she was like, I'm going to wait till you get about 5 or 6 before I come. And I'm like, no, I need you to come now. No. And I didn't know that. But then I'm like, and that's it's okay. Like, just stay focused. So, I told them I didn't want to lay down at all. Like they wanted me to lay on the bed. I said, no, I don't want to do that. So I said, you can give me this ball. I'll sit on the ball. And Sean was great support because he did everything that we practiced in our doula sessions, like rubbing my back, kissing me. And he was talking at a point. I'm like, okay, I need you to stop talking. Like I just needed to be quiet. And it was good. I was very in tune with my body and my mind. And all I kept saying, every contraction, I was like, what can I do for 60 seconds? Like, if you can hold your breath and blow it out or hum it out for 60 seconds, do that. So I feel like that was majority of my labor. I ended up getting 5 centimeters. I don't know. I don't remember what time I did, but Sheenie said she was on her way. And I started, don't you know how the hospital table is? Instead of sitting on it, I leaned across from it, and my husband was this way, and I was just swaying my hips. You're rocking your hips. I was just trying to open my body. My breathing and humming was great. Um, it's funny because it wasn't painful. Like when I always think about it, it was not painful. All I kept thinking is, if I keep this up, I'm going to get to my baby. That's all I kept saying. I'm going to get to my baby. The only fucking thing I hate is when they come in and they check you. I just feel like it's already trying to come down. Like, why are you putting your hand up there?
Mm-hmm.
So I was 7 or 8 centimeters dilated. And the doctor said I had like some water, something in there. She's like, if I pop it, it's gonna hurt. And I'm thinking like, bitch, if it's gonna
Don't
make the
pop it.
baby come out, right, pop it.
Mm-hmm.
So as soon as she popped it, she left. And I know I'm all over the place, but I hate when doctors say, I'm gonna come back in 4 to 6 hours. What do you mean you're gonna come? She was like, oh, first time babies don't come fast. And I'm thinking like, what? But I'm like, Annessa, don't think about that. I don't think about that. So she popped it, and I felt things kind of getting intense. I felt like everything happening. Um, and at this point, I didn't want to sit down. I was standing up. I was with Shinny. She was rubbing my legs, rubbing my back. I was swaying on her. And then my water didn't break yet, but I was gushing something out because I didn't want any drawers on. Then this white woman coming here was like, oh, we got to put panties on her. And I was like, Shinny, tell her to get out. I was like, I need her to get out. She was like, well, it's a safety issue. And I'm thinking like, lady, I'm trying to push this baby out. As soon as she put the diaper on me, now the time is 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock. So Shinny and I are trying to make bets on when we think Ace are gonna come. So I said, oh, maybe she'll come around 3:30. Shinny said she'll come around 5. Sean didn't want no part. He was stressed, I think. Like at this point, I think he was. You just saw like the stress in his face. And then I had to poop real bad. I looked at Shinny and I was like, I gotta push. I gotta push. Shinny was like, trust your body. And I heard the black nurse say, like, do you want me to get the doctor? And Shinny was like, what do you want to do? And I was like, I need to push. So the nurse called the doctor. I got on the table, which I really didn't want to do, but I think everything happened so fast that I was like, okay, let me do this. And I pushed for like 10 minutes and then Ace came out. It was good. That transition, I don't know if you can attest to it too. That transition from contraction to pushing is intense. It's intense because it shifts. Like it shifts from like the front, like I mean like cramps, but now it's like in your vagina because it's like now you have to push this human out. And the pushing part was pretty easy for the most part. There was a time that I felt myself go like, ah, and scream, but Shinny was like, so I was like, ah, and out she came.
She did it. I was like, girl, I am not doing this right now. I was like, these neighbors, the neighbors are probably like, what the fuck is going on in there? Number one, I was like, I'm sure they can hear me across the street. But yeah, no, I don't know how you managed to do the low blow because I was screaming my fucking head off. I was like,
Nisha, I need to see.
I
I need
thought my ass was about to rip in half. I was like,
this
what you
fucking
mean low
blow.
blow, girl?
That way, when they was like push, and when I started to feel, not only did I feel, I saw everybody's faces, and it was like, it's like, oh, the head here. So I'm like, ah, I'm like get her out, and then Shinny's like, so
Yeah.
it helps. The vibration, I think, cancels out the pain of the contractions. That's just me, though. I know every woman, and also pain tolerance is different according to Bree.
And somebody played tennis every day of their pregnancy. So I mean,
Yeah, I think that helped a lot too, just moving and just staying active. So yeah, it was my birth story. It was good. I was in labor for 10 and a half hours and I pushed for 10 minutes. So
that's quick for the first time.
yeah, I mean
Well,
that's
so I don't know if you addressed this, and terrible me if I missed it. So the doctor didn't make it back. I'm assuming because she said 4 to 6, or he or she said 4 to 6
well, they
hours.
had to call her because soon as she popped that little water thing, she was like, "Oh, I'm
Mm-hmm.
being back in 46 hours." She had to come back in 30 minutes.
All
Like
right.
that's why I don't understand why they say that. Don't give me a time. Just say you'll come back. Because now I was freaking out for a minute, like 4 to 6 hours. Like, is she gonna be here when a baby come? Like, am I gonna have to do it myself? So, no, she ended up having to come back, but she didn't have to do much because I was already. By the time I got on the table, the nurse told Sean to take one leg and Shinny to take the other, and I was like, I'm not waiting for her. But she ended
Mm-hmm.
up coming while I was pushing.
Okay. So you did. I know you said they laid you down, and you because you only pushed for 10 minutes. So I'm assuming she came out while you was on the bed.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Where I want to go now? The baby's like stern, but he's still asleep. But
I know. I'm like keep checking to the little camera.
My
Ain't she
nipples are
fine?
dead, and I just don't feel like don't feel like doing it right now. But um, so I know Shinny. I think you said this. I don't know, but for the listeners, Shinny is the doula.
Hmm.
Um, so can you tell me a little bit about your experience with Dre? I call it Dre. Jamal.
Yeah, I must say I
I feel
call
like
it.
everybody calls it everything.
Oh, is she in
your
or today?
your experience and a little bit more of like how you feel like she helped prepare you for labor mentally, physically, and if you feel like she helped prepare Sean at all as well.
She just came with this very holistic, energy, which I appreciated. And it was nothing. It wasn't pressuring, but what I think I appreciated more is that she got my husband ready for the experience.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I already kind of had a mindset. I love that it was more for something for us to do together. Like he knew how to rub my back. He knew that if I needed to put my feet up or what kind of music to listen to. Um, and I love the sessions where we would kind of have to affirm each other and just get each other ready for the baby. That was really good. But more so educating him on
Mm-hmm.
the possibilities and more so my needs. Because, men don't listen to us. They do, but they don't. But hearing it from another party, they're like, oh, maybe I'll listen a little bit. Don't mean they listen all the way, but maybe just a little bit. Um, but yeah, I think in the breathing and I think most so the breathing. I don't think I would have known how to do the breathing throughout of it. I think I
Yeah.
would have been able to manage the pain mentally, but that breathing was like the icing on the cake for me.
Yeah, the breathing definitely because with the first pregnancy, obviously I had a C-section, and like you said, I don't remember pain from the first one, but this one
Mhm.
I remember pain after my water broke.
Yeah,
But with the first one, like I was able to get through it with breathing, or at least how I thought I was supposed to
yeah,
breathe. But the way you should eat, which Dre, whatever, taught me how to breathe, helped me with the second one after my water broke because it was like all hell broke loose then. So the breathing is definitely a game changer, I guess to say. Granted, I couldn't manage it when I was pushing, but
yeah.
for the contractions prior, it really did help.
No,
Um,
it's a real thing. And let me say to the women that do get epidurals, I understand. Like I don't ever walk around like no, let me not say that. I do walk around like Superwoman. I pushed a human out of my vagina. I am. But also, so are you other moms. But, when you're in labor for a certain amount of time, like I hear about moms that are in labor for days, like, and
mhm,
I couldn't imagine. 10 and a half was just exhausting for me. And sometimes I do think, would I had lasted another 5 hours? Like because
yeah,
you become tired. So for the moms that do get epidurals, I see why.
yeah,
So I just wanted to throw that out there because I know the world shames different moms for their birth experience when you're doing a tough job in general, whether you're being cut open, pushed open, like anything. So
yeah.
I just wanted to add that piece.
And it gets really unpredictable, like
Hmm.
because no one, you wouldn't think somebody like a first time mom 10 hours, but and then you know what I'm trying to say. It varies with each pregnancy, each person. Like the same person can have two very different pregnancies or very different births,
Absolutely. And I'm
and
keeping that
it's just
mindset
crazy.
with the second one. It could be completely different. And I have
Mm-hmm.
to keep that in mind. Like people are like, oh, you're gonna have a natural birth. I'm gonna have whatever this baby allowed me to have. So, it's not about what I want. I could do what I can, but it's not about what I want.
Yeah. Okay, so I know you said Sean was very supportive, so that kind of leads me to the birthing team and even though everybody sounds great. So I know you said you guys are here without family, and it was the pandemic, so I'm assuming Sean was the only person there or the only person allowed to be in the hospital aside
Yeah.
from Trey.
Yep. Yep. The only person and he wasn't able to go to my doctor's appointments with me either. So that was tough.
Yeah,
He was only able to come to the last one and to see the emotion come from him because it's different for us when we see it on the screen, but for him I was like, damn, yeah, you never been to an appointment with me. So um that was tough. So I'm interested to see how this next journey goes now that he can go. But yeah, I do forget that it was a fresh pandemic. Like I had her 2021. So we had
he was
masks
in the
on.
thick
I
of
look
it.
back at our pictures. Yeah, we had masks on and everything. So
Mhm. And so everything went well with the doctor that gave birth to the baby or didn't give birth. you know me. You gave
Yeah.
birth. Delivered the baby. Was that like your regular doctor? Was it someone you have seen, like your annuals and stuff?
I did not know that woman. I did not know her at all. But when I saw her, I didn't want to think like you're gonna deliver this baby. I'm like, I'm gonna deliver the baby. You're just kind of here to watch. That's the
Mhm.
mindset I had to have because that did freak me out because you have this one person that you do see your whole 9 months, and then to find out like you're not gonna be here, like
Right.
you're not gonna do this, but to know that she had actually talked to my doctor before, like she had seen me and things. So, and my doctor was good. Besides her saying like she was gonna come back 4 to 6 hours, but she was encouraging. She was giving me all the information I needed. She was great. I still don't remember her name. I don't remember anything about her.
What
Just
matters is she was great.
yeah, because it's you get such a tunnel vision when you are in that process. Like I couldn't think about anything but myself and the baby. So I'm like, okay, you here, blah, blah, blah. All I remember is that black nurse. Her name was Nichelle. There we go. I remember the black lady.
That's funny because for the longest time, that's the only person I can remember. After my birth, I had my baby in Phoenix, so it wasn't many black people there. And the first person to give Ramal his bath was the black nurse. I can't remember her name now because my brain is mush right now.
Yep.
But for a long time, I think it was Janet. But the black people was who we remember, and that's what's
You
important.
always remember. Always remember.
But that's the craziest thing to me about like traditional birth or whatever is that you tell me to go see this person for 9 months, and then it's literally a stranger could probably be down there delivering the baby, and it's like, well, what did I see this person for 9 months for?
Man,
So it's very
it
fucking
really
weird.
is mind fucking because you get it as a positive. And my doctor told me that when I was, going to give birth at my original hospital, she said, hey, these other doctors, which I knew on the wall because you would see them when you go. And I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, all of them was black. My doctor was, what was Tina? I don't know, maybe Jew. She wasn't Jewish. I want to say maybe Indian or something. But all the other ones were black. So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be good if she ain't ready. I went to a
Hmm.
completely different hospital, and I was just like, what is about to happen?
Right.
So,
Okay. And so postpartum, the fun part
oh
of
yeah,
it all. So fun. Tell me about that for you.
and postpartum. Um, First of all, after women give birth, I think postpartum starts in the hospital because these people don't leave you alone. They come in to check you every 30 minutes, not you or the baby. Um, and you're just not getting really sleep or rest or whatever they so called want you to do after you have the baby. I was just ready to go. I think that's where it kind of clicked in for me because I remember crying, like, I just want to go home and be with my baby. Like, I don't want to be bothered. They come and push on your stomach, like, they do all of these things. Um, but coming home, I think I had, I say light postpartum because I felt like I knew what I was doing. But the thing that they don't tell you is that sleep. I think Rihanna said it best. She was like, it's like tripping on acid.
Yeah.
Like it really is like you high as hell. Like you don't know what time it is, but you got to take care of this person.
Hmm.
And you're on a schedule with this person. Feed them every 2 to 3 hours and things like that. Um, and I know my husband never really held a baby before, so I was a more of a helicopter person with him, like hold her like this. No, I got it. Let me do it. Or and he would help. He would try to be helpful, but me, I'm like, nah, I got this. Like, let me do it. So I think that's
Hmm.
what postpartum kicked in for me. Um, and I mean, I see why moms I say this a lot, and I hope people take it seriously. I see why moms, kill themselves. I see why moms kill their babies. I see why moms leave their families, because it's a
Hmm.
real thing. If you don't have a sense of your emotions, if you're not aware of what you're feeling and can just breathe through it, it's a lot that tackles you. And that's how I felt. I never felt like I wanted to harm myself or the baby, but it was times like, why the fuck did I do this? Like, did I really just have this baby? Like, am I meant to do this? Like, I remember just staring out the window crying because the sun was coming up. Like, because it's like, you, I don't know. It's a weird feeling. It
Yeah.
really is, because I think your home. It's like once you release this person, your body's doing all of these things inside. Um, but I don't think I had postpartum real bad because I was like, okay, let me get the hang of it because my mom came in town, so she was able to kind of, and that's a person I trust. My mom and I didn't have the best relationship growing up, but I knew that I could trust her with my baby. So
Mm-hmm.
when she came, it was like a whew, getting that rest and helping me with breastfeeding because that's one thing they don't tell you about either. Like they just want you to breastfeed this baby, but nobody
Right.
tell you like when your nipples is bleeding and chipped and all type of things, and the baby is cluster feeding, and you wondering if this baby is eating enough. But I think because I had cabin fever. That's what I think. Because I had ACE
Mm-hmm.
in September. So it started getting cold and I didn't want to take her outside. There wasn't much to do. So I think cabin fever was my postpartum.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but things got better when we took a trip. We went November. We went home for Thanksgiving. We went to Chicago and we drove with Ace. And I think just a sense of me being me instead of taking care of her kind of helped with that postpartum feeling because um, it's only so much you can give as a person, especially as a mom. I don't know what God did to us to make us this powerful being. Like we constantly pour into this little person and now peoples.
Mm-hmm.
You have two, and I'm about to have two. But it's like you still need to find time to recharge, just a little bit, because it sucks you dry. And even though this person cute as hell that you looking at is the cutest thing ever, but it's
A
scary
lot.
because you're like, where do I find this energy? And you just can't stop either. That's the thing.
Yeah.
You just cannot stop. So, yeah.
That's a fact. Oh, you said something. Oh, so I know you said most of your family was in Chicago. Do you feel like that attributed at all to how postpartum was for you?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I moved away from Chicago. I was 18 when I went to school. I went to school in Virginia and I kind of never looked back. I would go visit, but I
Mm-hmm.
knew Chicago was never someplace I wanted to stay. I had so much trauma there and I knew I wouldn't be able to grow. So by me like settling on the East Coast, I knew that, if I did want to have a family and settle down, that would be something I would have to deal with is not having family here.
Right.
Um, but I was also fortunate enough to have like close friends here that I consider family. Like it was a family. I taught their daughter tennis, a little black girl. She loved having a black coach, and they was like, "Hey, you my daughter now. Come for Thanksgiving. Come for," and
Mm-hmm.
that's my family. Those are the people who first met my daughter here before my parents. So, um, I think that did trigger the postpartum a lot because it's like my family isn't here, but then
Mm-hmm.
also you have to think how much would my family have done if they were here. My mom would probably be the only person that would do a lot. But if I had
Mm-hmm.
other family, I don't think they would have been much help. So,
And what was I about to say? Oh, so with healing, do you feel like what was that like? Because so when I was in Phoenix, I had a C-section and I didn't have any family there, so I feel like they tell you to rest. How am I supposed to rest? Keep taking this baby. Like I got to do shit. So do you feel like how was your healing? Were you able to rest? Were you able to take those breaks to heal?
yes, I'm going to give my husband some credit. Yes, I was. And it sounds selfish. And I know as moms, we say it because it's almost like, oh, it's not the way I wanted to rest. But I do accept that I got some rest. It's never going to be how we want because they're never going to be like us. But for him to sleep with her, take naps with her, like giving her a bottle eventually, the healing process, I would say, oh, there we go. Sorry, I thought I lost you. The healing process was, it was decent, but it was painful because having to clear up my hemorrhoids and do those sitz baths and
Mm-hmm.
spray my stitches and things like that. I think that was that was more of the postpartum depression part for me too, because it's like, how can I heal? Like, how am I supposed to take care of myself and this person? Like,
Right.
it's hard, and they don't tell you about that. I hate that these doctor's appointments, it's all about checking on the baby. Tell me what I got to do for me so I can take care
Mm-hmm.
of this baby.
Yeah.
But yeah, the healing part was that was a hard part for me, because the walking and the stinging, and then your boobs hurting, and then you smelling, and then like it hurts to take a bath, it hurts to pee, like, oh shit, I'm having like trauma thinking about it, because I'm gonna do this shit over.
It's better the second time. I feel like you know what to look for. So
Exactly.
it's kind of like because that last one, I feel like I was boofing all day. I was like, why do I smell like this? Like, what the fuck is this? So I'm like, no, you're not going. I mean, obviously, you know, nobody told you you're going to stink, and they're just like,
No,
why don't nobody tell me that?
nobody tells you that. Cause I'm like, bro, like what took a turn? Like, I mean, you be fresh out the shower and you put on fresh clothes and you be like, what is that?
Yeah,
From
I'm like,
all
y'all don't smell this,
it's really
but
upsetting. Really,
like,
especially if you don't like deodorant smelling. And for you to smell yourself, it's like, what the fuck? Like,
mm, that first time, I was like, who is that? Is it me? Like, what the fuck? But oh yeah, that part is it's a lot of shit. They just don't fucking tell you,
you
and it's irritating. I'm gonna go grab this child. I'll be right back.
know, okay.
Okay. I know. I know. Yeah. Um. Okay. So last thing, almost done here. Um. Motherhood in general. Ace is about she turned one in September, so one in some
Mm,
months.
yeah, one is
So how do you feel about motherhood now? Like, dude, how is motherhood in
um,
general?
I love motherhood. I think because I grew up with struggle. Like, I'm not gonna say I grew up broken stuff, but I grew up with a struggle, and I think motherhood is a struggle, but it's about embracing it, because it's not perfect. It's not perfect, and I also say I like motherhood because it's a reflection. Because you look at this little person, not only is this person like you, but it's also like the person you made it with. So, and like I said before, I've had experience with kids. I used to nanny. I used to be around babies all the time. So the only difference is she just here. I used to wake up. I used to joke when she was younger, and I'd be like, "Oh, you're still here. It's morning. Oh, okay. Good morning. You're still here." Like, that's the thing. It's just yours now. But I love it. I love it because my job, my career is to teach others, and now this person is teaching me. That's the thing too. Like, Ace teaches me a lot, and she also is an affirmation for me as well. Like, am I doing a good job? Am I doing enough? Like, is she happy? I mean, she is a happy baby, and I think your kids are a reflection of you a lot. And it starts from in the womb, and I think that was something Sean and I was big on, um, making sure that she feels our love. She feels loved, and even now that she's out, like, him and I have to kiss each other. Then she has to kiss us. Like, it's really a reflection, and it's like a time capsule, because people say like, oh, their baby is their best friend. And I remember when I posted about Ace, I'm like, she's my legacy. Like, she's gonna be the person that carry on everything. So motherhood is just, it still wows me, because just going through it all the time, women just don't get enough. Mothers just don't get enough credit. They just don't. And I sit and I listen to everyone's story. I'm fortunate enough to be a stay-at-home working mom. I take Ace to work with me, but to hear women, stress about daycare and stress about just everything, and not even just daycare. When these kids get in school, I don't understand why, when these kids have off days, why can't the parents have the off days?
Right.
Why should I go find care for my child, but my goal is to keep breeding life on earth, but nobody's making any accommodations for me? Like, that's a deep thing, but we already know America sucks
I
in
was about to
general.
say America hates mothers.
They
Okay.
hate mothers, like, I worked with this girl at the tennis facility. She was Russian. She found out she was pregnant, and she freaked out because she was like, Annessa, she was like, daycare is like this, that, and the third. and her husband was French, they picked up and they left and went back to Europe. Like, and I don't
Mm-hmm.
blame them because she was like, "Do you know the maternity leave in Russia is like 2 years?" I said, "2 years? You get 2 years with your child?
Mm-hmm.
We get 3 months." Like, I remember when Ace turned 3 months and I cried like a baby, and she was like, "You're okay? What's wrong? What's wrong?" And I was like, "There are moms legit going back to work right now. There are moms who have to legit leave their kids, and it's hard.
It's very fucking hard.
It is so hard. Even that 9 weeks, like even like when I get it, maybe one or two they can be time then now, but anytime before then, it's just hard. And I think motherhood is just so downplayed and is not really praised enough. Because
Mm-hmm.
we are the reason why the world is here. I mean, to be well, like it's really deep. Like I love deep talks because we can think about it. Like we the reason why the world keeps spinning. You know
According to Akon, babies can be grown in incubators though, so maybe they
that too.
don't need us.
No,
Maybe we're wrong.
yeah. Well, now they can. Back in the day, though,
I
back
was
in
like, "What are you talking about, D?" But that's just a side note. But yeah, America really hates mothers, and I'm glad you were able to stay home with Ace. Or do you plan to stay home with this baby?
yep, yep. I will plan to stay home. I will utilize more help. Like I won't send her to daycare, but I've met so many moms and who have the same age of kids, and I don't mind, taking Ace over there, drop her off for 2 hours or so,
Mm-hmm.
just so I can have that time. But yeah, I plan to stay home. Yeah,
And so my last question, because I know for myself, oh my god, bruv. What was I even saying? Oh, life changes, especially that first one. I feel like you can lose yourself a bit, and your relationship changes.
yeah.
Your friendships can change. You feel like you encountered any of that at all?
Oh,
If so,
absolutely,
can you tell me about it?
absolutely. It's weird that jealousy comes a lot with motherhood. Um, I'm trying to think what else. Family and creating boundaries, because
Mm-hmm.
it'd be the audacity for people, for me, that feel like that they can have an opinion on
Mm-hmm.
something that you created or tell you what to do with something that you just birthed. And I never understood that. And I never will understand that. And that's why I love our group of moms because it's an exchange, it's a conversation, and it's
Mm-hmm.
giving advice out of pure love. And you got people out here that are legit telling you what to do with your child, and it's mainly family. So I think that's
Which
something.
blows my mind.
Hmm?
I said, which blows my mind.
But we had that talk the other day.
Yeah.
I just be like, you could really fix your lips and say, like, who are you? Like, even if you have had your own child, but I didn't ask for that. It's not warranted over here. I would say friendships because I don't know if you're like this or other moms are like this, but I have grown to not like talking on the phone anymore. I don't like talking on the phone. You can text me all day. I'll even do a FaceTime sometimes, but like sitting and talk, that's not what I like to do. And I've lost a lot of friends like that because it's like they're calling and calling and calling. But also, my friends were the ones who were neglecting their kids, like always on the phone. I hear the baby crying.
Mm-hmm.
You're not gonna go get the. I like giving my daughter attention. I'm not at her face all the time, but I do. I like being with her. I like doing certain things with her. But then when I'm not with her, I like silence. So no, I don't want to talk. I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. I do enjoy an occasional meetup, like
Mm-hmm.
I'll take Naja. You want to go for lunch? Cool. Then we can talk then, face to face, kids or no kids. But I don't want to sit on the phone.
Yeah.
Um, but I just love the bonds of other moms that I've gotten out of this because it matters and you need that because your conversations are different when you have kids. That's just what it is. Your conversations are different when you get in a relationship.
Yeah.
It just is. I still have single friends. I still have friends that aren't mommies because I was that friend. Because I also understood. My best friend got married. She was married for 9 years. So I understood that we couldn't sit on the phone all the time. Or, like it's just the respect. And I
Mm-hmm.
think becoming a mom, you just find more people that respect you.
Mm-hmm.
And you find out the people that really respect you during that time. Um, but yeah, I think that's just my main thing. Like, I do not like being on the phone. I enjoy silence. My phone stay on do not disturb too. That's my favorite feature on the phone. Like, no, you cannot get through. The only person who can get through is my husband. That's only because I have his child. Other than that, he can't call me either.
My bad. I had muted the mic.
Oh no.
Uh, Same way. Literally, do not disturb. Jamal, the only person that come through. Shit. I hate when I was about to say something and I forget. But I think that's it because I can't remember what the fuck I was about to say. But any last words, any advice? Well, anything that I know you say you want to have a home birth this time, but anything like that you learned from your last pregnancy that you are taking into this pregnancy and birth?
Um,
Um,
I know it's cliche, but I tell all moms, trust your body, trust your baby. You know, like baby's gonna do what they gonna
babies.
do, and just don't compare. That's the biggest thing. Do not compare because you're gonna stress yourself out. One thing about me,
Mm-hmm.
I am on like these mom apps. I was on what to expect and just so I can read through, but I never like took anything because you will legit stress you and your baby out with all of that. And also find your tribe. You know, find you a group of women that's just gonna be there to listen, but also still hold you accountable too.
Yeah.
You know, because
If I would have had Black Mama's meat with ramen, I'm not saying like I did fine. He's alive. We survived. But I wouldn't have felt so alone because we was in Phoenix for that first year, just us, and you know. So a lot of times I would just be like, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing, or whatever. And if I would have had that. I did have one friend who had a kid, and that was helpful, but it was one person, whereas with you guys, it's like 80 of y'all
right, no,
who
right,
are
and then
able to understand things.
the thing is about it being, I wouldn't say so many of us, is that we all click. Like
Mm-hmm.
we all have something special. Like one may vibe more with the other, but at the end of the day, it's just a good energy in there. And like you said, like you had a friend that had a baby. Like all my best friends have babies, but we're all different, and
Yeah.
we're all different moms too. Like, and I respect that. So you just
Mm-hmm.
see to a point where it's okay to, you don't have to just have this strong bond with everybody. Everybody is in your life for different reasons. And that's what I see. Because I know my best friends, I was like, okay, I'm not doing that. Okay, I'm not doing that. But,
Yes, yes, definitely. Family, friends. I'm like, okay, this is what's not going to happen
absolutely.
once this baby gets here. I do feel like, with myself, I'll text my sister sometimes. I'm like, I'm sorry that I was such a butt wipe or whatever, because I feel like motherhood. You do, you may have opinions about things before,
Yeah,
but then once you become a mother, you're like, why did I ever talk to this
exactly.
person about this? So, but it really blows my mind when an actual mother does it. I'm like, you don't want nobody telling you about your kids, so why are you telling me about mine? But yeah, I feel like it's definitely a thing. If everybody's gonna do something different, and that's just it's your kid. You need to do what you think is best for your kid.
Absolutely.
But okay, then I think that's it. I don't know why I said it like we were on the phone, even though
Like,
technically.
okay, girl, I'll call you later.
Thank you so much for doing this.
Nice talking with you.
I'm gonna start recording now. I think that is it.